Jake's father worked for 39 years. He woke up at 5:30 every single morning. He never missed a day. He never complained. He just showed up, did his job, and came home. 39 years of alarm clocks and commutes and mandatory overtime. And when he finally retired at 64 years old, he had $63,000 in his savings account. $63,000. After 39 years of work, his house was not paid off. His car was 7 years old. His health insurance was gone the moment he left his job. And within 8 months of retirement, he was looking for part-time work at a hardware store. Not because he wanted to stay busy, but because $63,000 was not enough to live on, and it was running out. Jake watched his father do everything society told him to do: work hard, be loyal, show up every day, and he watched it not be enough. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because Jake's father is not an exception. He is not a cautionary tale about laziness or bad decisions. He is the average. He is what happens to most Americans who follow the script they were given without ever questioning whether that script was written in their favor. Stay with me, because once you understand what is actually happening to your money, you can start to fight back. Let us start with the number that explains everything. The average American spends 40 years working, roughly 80,000 hours of their life, given to employers, and at the end of those 40 years, the median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64 is just $134,000. Financial experts say you need roughly $1 million to retire comfortably. The average American retires with $134,000. That gap between $1 million needed and $134,000 saved is not an accident. It is the result of 4 specific mechanisms that drain wealth from workers. And most Americans go through their entire working lives without ever understanding what those mechanisms are. Mechanism number 1, inflation is a hidden wealth tax that nobody voted for. In 1980, the average home cost about $80,000. Today, it costs $400,000. In 1980, a new car cost about $7,000. Today, it costs $48,000. Wages went up roughly 80% over 40 years. But the things you need to build a life went up between 400 and 1,200%. You are earning more dollars, but those dollars buy less of everything that actually matters. And every year that inflation runs above your wage growth, you are getting poorer silently, automatically, without anyone telling you it is happening. Mechanism number 2, debt is the most effective wealth destruction tool ever invented. The average American carries 4 types of debt simultaneously: a mortgage, a car loan, credit card debt, and student loans. Here's what those 4 debts actually cost over a lifetime. The average 30-year mortgage on a $350,000 home at 6.5% interest costs $450,000 in interest alone. The average American finances 8 to 10 cars over their working life, adding nearly $100,000 in car loan interest. Credit card interest on an average balance of $4,000 at 22% costs $9,000 over 10 years on just $4,000 of purchases. Student loan interest adds another $25,000 over 20 years. Add it all up. The average American pays between $500,000 and $800,000 in interest payments over their working lifetime. That money went to banks, not to your retirement, not to your children's future, to banks. Mechanism number 3. Lifestyle inflation silently erases every raise you ever get. Here is a pattern that repeats in almost every American household. You get a raise, and within 6 months, your spending has increased to match the new income level. The raise that was supposed to help you save more somehow results in 0 additional savings. When you get a 10% raise, your brain tells you that you can now afford a slightly nicer apartment, a slightly newer car, slightly better restaurants. And before you realize what happened, the raise is completely absorbed by higher expenses, and your savings rate is exactly what it was before. This happens at every income level. It happens to people earning $30,000. It happens to people earning $300,000. The income goes up, the lifestyle goes up to match, and the gap between income and spending, which is the only gap that actually builds wealth, stays exactly the same. Mechanism number 4. Financial education was never taught in school, and that was not an accident. Why does the American education system teach calculus and Shakespeare, but not how compound interest works, not how to read a mortgage contract, not how credit card interest is calculated, not how to invest in a retirement account? You spent 13 years in school learning things most people never use after graduation. And 0 time learning how to manage the money you will spend your entire adult life earning. A financially literate population is harder to sell credit cards to, harder to lock into 30-year mortgages, harder to keep in debt. Financial ignorance is enormously profitable for the financial industry, and you were never taught how money works, not because nobody thought it was important, but because your ignorance was worth money to someone else. Now here's where everything changes, because understanding why the system drains wealth is only useful if you know what to do differently. Here's what the people who actually retire with dignity do differently. First, they automate their savings before they can spend. If you automatically move 10% of every paycheck into savings and investments before it hits your checking account, over a 40-year career at average market returns, that produces over $1 million. The same 40 years that produced $134,000 for Jake's father produces $1 million. If you just automate the savings first. Second, they treat debt like the emergency it actually is. Every dollar paid in interest is a dollar that will never compound for you. Throw every extra dollar at high interest debt. Drive older cars to avoid payments. Resist upgrading your lifestyle until your debt is gone. Third, they invest in assets that grow while they sleep. Savings accounts pay interest rates that run below inflation, which means money sitting in a savings account is losing purchasing power over time. Invest in assets that grow faster than inflation. Index funds, dividend-paying stocks, real estate, assets that put money in your pocket whether you go to work or not. Fourth, they ignore lifestyle inflation deliberately and permanently. Every time they get a raise, they increase their savings rate before they increase their spending. This single habit, repeated over a career, is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional wealth. Here's the bottom line. Jake's father did not end up with $63,000 after 39 years because he was lazy, or stupid, or irresponsible. He ended up there because he followed a script that was never written in his favor. He worked hard inside a system designed to capture most of what he earned, through inflation, through debt interest, through lifestyle inflation, and through a financial education system that taught him nothing about any of it. Jake is doing things differently. He automates his savings, he attacks his debt, he invests every month without fail. He is not following his father's script, he is writing a new one. You can do the same thing. It does not require a high income. It does not require a finance degree. It requires understanding how the system actually works and making deliberate choices to work around the parts that are designed to drain you. You now understand it. You have been decoded. If this video connected something that nobody else ever explained to you, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004, because every single week, we decode the financial system that ordinary Americans are forced to navigate without a map. Simply, honestly, and clearly, drop a comment below and tell me, does Jake's father's story sound familiar to you? Do you know someone like him? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.